Hello, my name is Tia Morris and I lead Family and Community Engagement for the Camden City School District. We often hear that parents are our first and most important teachers of children. And in the Camden City School District, we would agree. We understand the importance of involved and informed parents in student achievement. And we're here today to have some conversation with some of our staff members on the front lines of this work. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Brittany Haley, and I'm the Community School Coordinator at R.T. Cream School.
My name is Patricio Ramirez. I'm the Community Schools Coordinator at McGraw Elementary.
I'm Chanel Shepard. I'm the Assistant Principal at KIPP Revolution Primary.
Thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
So, tell me a little bit about why it is that you became a Community School Coordinator, or why it is that you're doing this work with parents.
Well, personally, I feel like I decided to become a Community School Coordinator because I felt like it was something that I could do. It would be challenging, but it would be rewarding at the same time. A lot of these parents feel like there's nobody in the school that they can come to particularly. So with me being at RT Cream, I definitely feel like parents are coming in, and there was a need for me, and that was pretty much it.
Great.
Kind of piggybacking off of what Brittany said, I look for a challenge. When I went to Stockton, I did the EOF program, and then I became a coordinator for them as well. The program is for families who can't afford college out front, so it's like a financial aid system for them. And I saw, like, when I was a coordinator, I saw growth, and that was more rewarding for me than anything else. So I love helping people, and in my school, majority of the parents are Latino or can barely speak English, so I'm pretty much their voice in a way because they can't communicate in person with the principal or anybody that they need help with, so most of them do look for that translator.
Great.
At our school, we are working really hard to embrace what it means to be a community school. And I think the first line of that is having really strong relationships with our parents so that we're all on the same page and we're all making sure that our students are like finding success and having pride in where they come from, and making sure that all of that, parents can see that all of that is part of their work also.
Great. So Patricio spoke a little bit about his experience at Stockton. Could some of you share a little bit about your own education experience? What was your education like? How did your parents play a role in your education?
My mom played a vital role in our education. She was there on the front line, making sure she was coming to school, dropping us off at school, talking to the teachers, just being a voice and just letting the teachers know that I take this seriously, and if you have any problems from her, feel free to call me and contact me. It was an open line of communication, and I feel like that's important. So I knew that it wasn't a game as a child, and my mom knew and my teachers knew that they could come and talk to each other, and they can rectify any situation that there could have been.
Chanel, could you tell me a little bit about your educational experience?
Sure. I grew up in New York City public school system, and my mom played a role as being my greatest advocate. So in my development, in hindsight, now I realize that she was talking for me and meeting behind my back. But I never felt that at any time like my mom and my school weren't on the same page. So that helped me navigate the school system. Because she knew more about what I needed to do than I did. And I think that information that she received in like her interactions with my teachers and other parents at the school, things like that, made it so that I was able to like find success by the time I graduated.
Okay, so I heard a little bit about parents being advocates, a little bit about, parents being champions. Can you talk to me about your day-to-day as a community school coordinator, as the vice principal working with parents to create this community school environment? What is it that you're doing? How is it that you're helping our parents to be able to advocate for their children? What's a day in a life like for you?
I start off my day by greeting all the parents. I stay out with the security guard. I stay at the front line pretty much till probably 9 o'clock, greeting parents. Some kids do run late. If they have any questions around that time, they see the school nurse. If I can help them with anything else, I'm usually at the front door with the security guard. Then from 9 to 10-ish, sometimes I help the social worker with translating, because most of the students are either like their families don't speak much English, so I'm either translating for her or working on any emails that I seem fit. And then after that, it depends every day. My day is every day is a new adventure. I do help with cafeteria duty and recess, and then right now I'm currently working on it's been going on since January, a food pantry program for parents. If anybody who doesn't have any income or they qualify for food stamps, they can come and they'll get a free basket of food once a month.
That's great.
At Woodrow Wilson. So that we're still working on that, and then pretty much to wrap up my day, I look at through all my emails and then try to focus on programs for parents to get engaged.
Great. Thanks, Patricia.
Adding to what Patricio said, in the morning, it's very big for CSCs to kind of greet families and see the kids and just, you know, talk to everybody and kind of set the tone for how the day is going to go. Parents are dropping the kids off, and, you know, some parents are busy, so it's just a quick hey, but it's just, you know, seeing them and letting them know, hey, I'm here, good morning to you and your family. And then after that, I have tardies, so if you're coming in a little late, it gives me a chance to kind of ask, like, hey, what's going on? You know, to the children, is there anything we can help you with as far as getting you here on time and making sure your attendance is good and you're not, you know, late constantly, and, you know, things of that sort. There's lunch duty. I have a lunch duty. That's for half an hour, and it's actually a good time to be able to just sit and chat with some of these kids, and, you know, they get to know you, and they can put a face to your name, and
trust.
Parents can. So it just lets them know you're there and you're a constant. Kids love to see that you're a constant, you're not going anywhere, you'll be here. After lunch, I try to have programs for our parents, which could be resume building, muffins for mom, luncheons, just anything that lets the parents know, feel free to come in, come to our things, we're here, we're open, I have a parent room, and it's just, come in, we're like one big family, and we want you to feel like that, we want you to feel welcome. So that's basically the majority of what we have going on.
Great. And so Revolution Primary is a new school. Can you talk to me a little bit about what it is that you're doing to get parents involved?
Sure. So I think similar, we've structured our schedule so that in the mornings at arrival, we have half of our staff outside, just greeting families and students. The same with dismissal, everyone comes outside, from our office manager to the principal, everybody's outside talking to parents or just mingling.
What message does that send? Why is it important that so many of your staff members are out there?
So every role in our school is about making sure our students find success. So we want that to be the face of what parents see, and that, like, any concerns you have or you just need to have a conversation, you can speak to anybody on our staff, and just setting that up, that we're like a support every role. We also have Saturday schools, which are half days on Saturdays once a month, and the sole purpose is for there to be special programming for families. So parents and students come and they engage in different activities, some community outreach things, or some development things. Like we've had the food bank come and do sessions on healthy eating and things of that nature, or there's just games, come play with your student in a safe environment.
So I hear so much about different types of programs, whether it's a food pantry, whether it's Saturday school, whether it's resume building. It seems as if there are lots of efforts to truly embody this notion of a community school, a place where families feel welcome. But we hear that there are concerns about parents being involved, that there are never enough parents involved. What has your experience told you about how it is to get parents involved? What works in getting parents involved and out to the schools and out to programs?
I feel like with parents, you're not always going to get a warm welcome. But what you will get is parents coming around slowly but surely. So it might not be that initial, but when parents know you're genuine, you care about them, their families, and you just really want what's best for them, you guys can kind of grow together as a school, as a community, as a family, working as one.
Great. What's worked for you?
It's tough with some families because they do work. So with me, I kind of ask them when are they available, what kind of programs they would like to see, pretty much getting their voice, because sometimes you can't really cater to the ones that work in the morning because they have other obligations. But recently we just had an assembly, a winter assembly with with the kids, and it was such a great turnout that you saw some parents probably did take off of work to see their kids come out. And I see that to get parents involved, the more they see their kids involved, that will be like, that's the heart and goal to any parent.
I think the first step is having strong relationships, and I think you want to build those so that you can rely on them to leverage those types of events and things like that. And we try to make sure that parents feel heard also, and make sure that maybe you're not as satisfied with a teacher or something like that, but like there's somebody that you feel you could connect to, and then making sure that we use those people to reach out and make sure that all the different things that we do are fulfilling the needs that parents see fit, and being like purposeful about scheduling. So there's things that we do during the day, there's things that we do like right after school when you're picking up your student, or things that we do in the evening where you come back, so that if you have like varied responsibilities in your schedule, you can find the time to get in.
So 2 key things I heard were about trust and really just developing strong relationships with families, but I also heard a little bit about being responsive to the needs, whether it's timing, whether it's interests and types of programs. Can you talk to me a little bit more about how it is you build trust with families? Because some of our parents have had bad experiences with the schools or bad experiences with, whether it's within their own education or for their children. How is it that you're building trust and trying to build these strong bonds with families? How do you help parents understand that your school is a place where they can trust and feel safe?
Sometimes, Tia, it's more I can show you better than I can tell you. So to know that parents see you, to know that when they're talking to you, you can actually relay that back to them so they hear you. And it's just the follow-up process, just letting them know, like, I heard you, so you have a voice here, and this is what the next step, this is what we're going to do to help you with whatever it is. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, the one-on-one with the parents is enormous. I have an open door policy. I send out my emails. I'm out there in the mornings with parents, greeting them. Parents see that, and someone that they can relate to makes them comfortable. And if they know that they can count on you and talk to you whenever they need any assistance, that's huge to me and to them. If they come with a question, and if I don't have the answer, I know I'm gonna do my best to get to them that same day. Because I know they're waiting for a response from me, and the sooner the better.
I think there's also a lot of times like a key moment in a relationship, especially with parents in the school. And sometimes, unfortunately, that's when something goes wrong. And I think the way you build trust is how you respond to those things that are going wrong. It's very important that the parent, like you were saying, feel heard, but also that it's a solutions-oriented conversation and like grounded in the fact that we're all here for the same thing, for your students to do the best that they can. So making sure that those things drive the conversations and take blame out of those kind of conversations, so that their first interaction with you when there is a problem is resolved in a way that they walk away feeling like, oh, even though we disagree, but like I can trust that, he or she has my student's best interest in mind, and then that helps the conversation go differently.
Great, and so I definitely see the responsiveness there. And I know that when we look at our families come in all different shapes and sizes and different constitutions. How is it that you're able to meet the needs of various families? We have some families of single parents. We have grandparents or other family members who are taking care of children. Sometimes we have younger parents or older parents. How is it that you address the varied needs of the different family structures that we have?
The first thing I think is just to know your families, and through talking with them and kind of, even talking to some of the teachers, they can give you some of the background to what's going on. So it's like, as a coordinator, you have to have strong relationships with not only the parents and the kids, but the principal and the teachers too, because together is the best way that you guys can figure out and see what's the best thing for everyone. And with that, you can know who you're serving and how you can better serve them.
Chanel?
Oh, yes. So I think I agree that it's about those relationships and being able to leverage and rely on those relationships. I think one thing that we do is we try to make sure that like our staff represents our student body also. So we have like we have a huge population of Spanish speakers. So you make sure that like our office managers also do language, that we have teachers that they can feel comfortable to talk to. I think we spend a lot of time at the beginning of the year learning about our families and learning about those differences. One, so they can be celebrated and represented in instruction, but also so that parents also feel like this is a place where they can find someone that understands them.
Right, so when we think about this notion of a community school, we know that students are part of families and our schools are part of communities. How is it that you are working collaboratively with the larger community, with the greater community, to serve your families, to provide resources, to provide training, programming? What does that look like in your school?
Right now, we are currently working in McGraw with the Philadelphia Soul, and we're trying to get the parents to come, I guess, kind of like a fundraiser, and get parents to go to see a Philadelphia Soul game with their kids, get them involved. Also, we are doing a Young Cadets for, I guess, parents. Well, the little kids, kind of like a ROTC for the little kids. But with that, they can actually take their kids, and it's kind of like a way to get the kids structured. But at McGraw, we're doing a lot of outreach with other programs, with the food bank. I'm doing the pantry program right now. So it's just getting, the more resources, the better it is for families. Because granted, someone might not be able to make one event, but the more you have, the more likely they'll be able to make one event.
And piggybacking off of what Patricio said, not only the food bank and stuff, but we have local churches and organizations in the city of Camden that do amazing stuff for our families. So we do a lot of stuff with these churches and like Patricio said, the food bank, and then there's Career Link, so we can kind of do a lot of things to help.
Yeah, along those same lines, we found that access to healthcare is something that's important and not always easy for our families. So we've done things like connect with Project Hope and some other hospitals, and our nurses on the front line of those things. So not only is she like putting Band-Aids on kids and things like that, but like going out and finding where can we get our kids immunizations done. Like where can we make sure that they have a doctor who understands them and makes it affordable. So I think finding those kind of things where there's a hole in something that our kids need, in order to truly be a community school, we have to be able to fill some of those.
So I'm hearing so much about so many great programs. How can parents find out about these programs? Where do parents go to get information about what's actually happening at your school and in a greater community?
We have a bulletin board in front of the office, in front of the principal's office. His office is at the front door. But they also have my number's everywhere around the school. I have a flyer with my face on it.
You're famous, Patricio.
My door's always open, and the secretaries are always calling me saying, Patricio, you have a parent here. So I also have that great communication with my secretaries, because whenever a parent is looking for me, they know they can find me through the secretary as well.
Okay. How do parents get information at CREAM about everything that's going on, all your programs, all your events?
Well, when I'm having an event, we send out flyers. We have an amazing parent volunteer, Ms. Honey, who kind of helps, and she'll make sure that all the teachers get everything. Teachers make sure that their students get it. They'll relay the message. In passing, when parents are coming in and out, everybody is on one accord. It's like, hey, we have this coming up. This is what we have going on, so make sure you come in and see me. And they know where to find me in my room. And like Patricio said, we have a flyer that has my face on it. It has my email, my phone number, my extension. So anytime you need to get, in touch with me, whether it's from a flyer or something you just want to talk about, I'm available.
Great.
I think we have some of the similar things going on. We have bulletin boards. We send home flyers. We send home a newsletter that has like any big events in it. Our office manager has been paramount in just relying on her relationships too. I'll send out a quick text message. But I think beyond that, if parents need something or want to say something, the fastest way to just walk in and ask anybody you see. And even if they can't answer, they can direct you to the right person.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear so many different tools, whether it's text message, email, flyers, you have your school-based websites. I know that the district is embarking on a new endeavor to get more parents enrolled in Parent Portal, register for the district Parent Portal. Can you talk a little bit about why it's important for parents to be registered for Parent Portal? How will that benefit them?
Okay. I think Genesis Parent Portal is paramount. You can see your kids' grades, you can see attendance, you can see how they're doing. Sometimes parents are busy and they're working, so they're not able to physically sometimes come up to the school. So with the Parent Portal, you can just click, log on and click, and you can kind of actually see how your student is doing, which may make it easier to follow up with a teacher via email or make a phone call because you know all the information already. So sometimes.
Is it difficult to get involved for a parent to actually sign up for Parent Portal?
No, not at all, actually. We have flyers that tell the parents what Genesis Parent Portal actually is, and on the back they can fill out their information, an email address, address, phone number of their kids of that school, and it's as easy as turning it into a community school coordinator, and we'll get you set up with the email, and you'll get a link, and then you'll be connected.
Great, so it seems like it's just a matter of a parent giving you their email address, giving you some basic information, and as simple as that.
Correct.
That's great. How do you get dads involved? We see lots of moms coming up. How do you get dads involved in your schools?
This past Christmas, I know that we at McGraw, we give haircuts for the kids.
Oh, wow.
And the dads actually are the ones that volunteer and give the kids haircuts. And this year, that's what we're also doing, the young cadets, to see if fathers would like to go on base and go on this trip with us so that their kids can actually have that experience with them as well. We also do donuts for dads.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another huge event that we have before Father's Day.
Great. What are some of the things that you intend to do? I know that you're getting up and running, but how have you seen the participation with dads, and how have you pulled dads in to your school?
Right, so I think one of those, the major things again is like once we see a father involved or on your contact list or, you know, just stop by, we like make it a point to have a conversation with you and talk about ways that like just your presence, so just attending those events makes a difference. So especially in the number of families we have that might not be their reality. So our kids, like on Saturday school, we have kids come who didn't bring a parent with them, and so then we disperse them with other families and things like that. So a 3-hour session with someone else's dad can make a huge difference. And so just making sure that they're aware of those things and finding a way to support them to extend that further.
Great. So if you're thinking about all of the work you're doing to empower your families, to inform your families, how do you recommend that parents help their children at home? What are some of the things that our parents could be doing at home that you think would really help their students to be successful?
I think from an instructional standpoint, just read anything, not just like books we send home, things like that, but read anything. I think it's a way to interact and like help your students start to feel invested in that.
So what might that look like? Read anything like what?
So we're in the supermarket and let's read these signs and find out what we're going to try today. Or if a student is like working on sounding out things, so okay, that's a stop sign, sound out each sound, what do you hear in those letters? Just making it more alive and a part of their everyday lives. I think too, just a simple question of like, how was your day? And then asking a specific question. So what did you learn in math today? What did you learn in science today? To have students talking more about their days. And that would also help students realize, oh, my mom or dad is really invested or involved in what I'm doing every day, things like that. And then I think taking it a step further and making sure that you interact with the school. So everything that's in homework we ask to be signed every day, things like that, to just ensure that we have those relationships starting to develop.
But Chanel, some parents would say that things have changed so much from when they're in school, or they don't understand the content, the math content or the science content. Do they have to actually know the content in order to ask their children these questions?
No, I don't think you have to know the content. I do think that if you would like to, that's where you should feel free to reach out to your school, to your teacher, to your parent coordinator, to anyone to just say, I know they're working on this, here's how I want to help. Or like we have things like family and math night or those kind of things. But I think even before that. So in the moment we're at the table and I don't exactly know how to help you, I think have your students explain to you what they did. And then you can then have the ability or the information to ask those questions to follow up later or to help. But I think not asking is far worse than not knowing how to respond.
Great. So what I'm hearing is even if parents don't understand the content themselves, whether it's math or science or reading, if they just ask questions such as, tell me about what you learned today, or explain to me what you did in science, or why don't you read to me, that's helpful.
That's extremely helpful.
Great. Patricio, you talked a little bit about your parents and the fact that a number of them are bilingual parents and don't speak much English. How can those parents actually help their children? What does that look like when there may be the additional language barrier of the content that students are learning? What does that look like?
From what I have seen with the parents I have spoken to, some of them actually get great pleasure actually doing homework with their kids because they're not only just helping their child, but they're actually helping themselves. I know some parents that actually learn the language by just helping their child do homework, because it's not just homework for your child, but it's actually homework for yourself as well.
Great.
And parents actually do take the extra step and ask for an ESL book so that they could take home. And some kids do take those ESL books home, and parents actually read them with them as well. So it's not the child just learning, but the parents are also learning as well.
Great. And so to close, if you had to have one piece of advice, one request of our families, what would that advice be? What would that request be to our families here in the city?
I would say never be afraid to come in and talk to us, to ask anything, because I might not have the answer, Patricio or Chanel might not have the answer, but we might have the resources that are able to help you in any way, shape, or form.
I guess I would say you're your child's #1 advocate. You're your child's first teacher also, so embrace that and don't use that as something to prevent you from being more involved. Trust yourself, and step 1 is to just come in.
So thank you so much for all that you're doing to work with our families. I think that all of your schools and all of our parents are lucky to have you. And thank you so much for spending this time with us. In Camden, parents are important. Families matter. And what you do with your child helps determine their success, helps determine how far they can go, and we need you. Whether it's coming to a program at one of our schools, whether it's visiting the district website, signing up for Parent Portal, visiting one of the Camden Parent Partnership family centers, calling the Solution Center, whatever way that you can get information and get involved is a great way. We need you. We look forward to seeing you. We look forward to working with you. And you are our first and most important teachers of our children.